Welcome to another episode on the Platform Podcast where we interview athletes, parents. We have chats in-house as well, but today we've got a very special guest. We've got Ronan Wynne joining us. Ronan, how are you, brother? All good?
Good, you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, man. It's been a minute. I mean, for those that are watching this or listening to this in their car, we signed Ronan a long time ago. I don't even know what year it was, man. It was like
2020?
Yeah, it was quite. It was way before that because you were year 11, bro.
Yeah.
You were in your third to last year in high school at Wellington College, and we got the introduction through Chris Zoricic, and I think you had just moved from Auckland to Wellington to join the Wellington Phoenix Academy, right? And I remember we had a coffee on Cuba Street with your mum and dad.
Yeah, I remember that.
Your dad had just come down, and since then it's just been such an awesome time getting to know you guys, and your dad's become a good mate of mine as well. So it's always
good.
Yeah, I see his comments now and then on the Facebook post, especially the one that he did recently when we lost the Rugby World Cup, and I made a statement on a Instagram reel about the refereeing. And your dad goes, settle down now.
Yeah, he loves it. He's a big box fan.
Yeah, I bet. But for those that are watching or listening, Ronan Wynne's a soccer athlete, currently at University of Denver with the men's soccer team. And he's had one hell of a career. I'm going to throw this question to you, mate. Do you know how many minutes you've played throughout your entire time at University of Denver?
Like 3,000. 3,000.
Over 4,000.
4,000.
I just read that on the website before. I just thought I would say that. But I'll actually give you a bit of an intro, mate, because I've printed off your bio. This podcast might be long because the list is very long of the accolades that you've gone. So you were in the United Soccer Coaches All-West Region First Team. You were in the Summit League All-Academic Team. You were in the Summit League Players to Watch list. You were in the College Soccer News National Team of the Week. You were in the Summit League First Team. You were the Summit League Defensive Player of the Year. You were in the Summit League All-Newcomer Team of the Year. And you're the Summit League Second Team in 2021. After me reading all that out, did you ever think that you would achieve all of those things?
I didn't really think about it, to be honest. It was never in my mind. But I always have self-belief, so I didn't put it out of the question, though.
There was one thing I wanted to touch on, man, because, your journey as a soccer player, I feel like you've just hustled a lot. You were living in Auckland throughout your entire, teenage years, and you were at Westlake Boys High, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end of your second year in high school, you just decided to pack your bag, leave Auckland and head to Wellington and leave all your mates behind. How do you do that? What was your sort of thought process on that?
At that point, it was just about getting in the right environment, and the Phoenix, as we know, is probably the best environment you can possibly be in at that, 15, 16, 17 years old. So I just wanted to be training at the highest level, and I had to move to do that, leave my friends behind, and looking back on it now, it was worth it. Did you face any challenges when you were in Wellington? Did you ever feel like you felt a bit lonely or anything like that? Or were you sort of second guessing yourself when you decided to make a move to a different city at such a young age? At the start, it was pretty hard, because I moved down with my mum, so my dad wasn't there to support, and that kind of left a hole in my life a little bit. But I guess I got used to it, but that was probably the most challenging part of it, my dad not being there.
And because your family, you got an older sister, right, that lives up in Auckland. Your brother Declan was overseas playing somewhere professionally.
He was gone.
He's also played for the All Whites, for those that are watching or listening. Pretty incredible family. I hear your sister's quite the interior designer.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah. She's doing well. I don't really know much about it, but it seems like she's kicking on, doing well. So,
bro, I feel you, man. I got a younger sister as well, and I couldn't tell you what she does, but she's doing very well for her age. But no, I just wanted to touch on that because there's a lot of athletes here that want to make that next move but are scared about moving. What is some advice that you can give some of those kids? To
achieve the things that you want to achieve, you're going to have to sacrifice at some point. And then, if you don't sacrifice now, you're going to have to sacrifice later. And if that means, so as a soccer player, for example, if I didn't sacrifice to go over to the States, then I wouldn't be able to get my degree. I wouldn't be able to have the opportunities that I had. So I sacrificed a few years ago, and now I'm doing well, and hopefully I can kick on to better things. So
100%. And look, like, we started working when you're in year 11. So to those that are listening to Australia, it's a bit different. That would be your equivalent of being year 10. So 3 years away from finishing high school, Ronan and I started working together towards this college journey. And you got approached by some pretty big names in the US. I know you had some tough decisions to make as well. I remember going through that process vividly with you. But the harder thing is that the Phoenix was right there. Now, I respect what the Wellington Phoenix do. I think it's a great organisation. And look, college isn't for everyone. Yeah. But for you, it's kind of tricky because you weren't just in the academy, like you were in the National League in their team, and you're starting as a right back. You're doing extremely well. And I know you played actually quite along that back line, didn't you? You slotted in a few games at centre back as well.
Yeah, played a lot of positions in the back line. Yeah.
And you're doing incredibly well, man. But then you get these offers from universities in the US. Why did you think that college was the right option for you? Did your brother have any influence over it, considering he was in the US, or?
Well, yeah, he didn't. He went to Canada. He didn't actually go to college, but I know that if he did have the opportunity, that he would have done that, go to college, and then hopefully try and kick on to the professional ranks. I think it's probably the option for players like me that covers the most bases, I guess. You get the obviously play at a high level, soccer at a high level, especially if you get to a good program. Sometimes it can be slept on, I think. And then the education as well, studying at these amazing universities that you don't really, there's maybe one or two that you get in New Zealand. So, and then the social life, meeting so many people, traveling around the US, massive country. There's just so many opportunities, honestly.
And you mentioned just before that your brother didn't go to college. So, I mean, looking at the Phoenix and talking to the guys there, did you have any doubts about the American pathway for you? Because I know it was quite fresh for the guys like your age.
Yeah. I feel like it was kind of an unknown.
Yeah.
Whereby not many people that I knew had gone, so I didn't really know much about it. So yeah, it was a bit risky and I was kind of iffy about it, but the more I kind of got into the process with you and we, talked to a bunch of schools and met a bunch of coaches and stuff, the more sure I became. And then when I got there, I was like, right decision.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what was your expectation of going to University of Denver like? You signed the contract back in New Zealand. We've still got the photo that you signed in Wellington at your mum's place on the terrace. But you signed the contract. You were packing your bags. What is your expectation at University of Denver? You're one of the fastest players in the Phoenix Academy. You're very elite in New Zealand. What was the expectation versus what was the reality when you got there, both players-wise, like the talent that was there, and also like location too?
Mm-hmm. I didn't really have strong expectation of anything. I didn't really know what to expect, if it was going to be too good for me or not as good as I thought it was going to be. So when I did get there and I started playing, I didn't actually get to play out of conference in my first in 2021, the start of 2021. So I didn't really get to see the scope of how good everyone was. And then later in the year, when we got to play like a proper season, we played out of conference, and that's when I was like, wow, okay, many of these teams are really good, especially when we're traveling away and playing at those grounds. I was like, this is a really good level. And then Denver I'd been to before, because my brother played at the Rapids, so I kind of knew what to expect. Just sunny days all the time, mountains, beautiful scenery, nice city. So yeah,
that's cool, man. What was your first impression of the facilities? Because your dad's actually been on a podcast with us, bro, as well. We went and did it at your dad's work. Your dad had just come back from overseas with your mum, and they were visiting you and Declan. Mm-hmm. They were blown away. What was your first impression?
Yeah, it was much better than I thought it was going to be. And my school as well, for people probably don't know, it's not a massive school, but we do have some top programs. Like our hockey team is probably the best ice hockey team in the country. Our gymnastics team, our lacrosse team, both our soccer teams are pretty good. So we have really nice facilities, and some of them are, I would say, better than a lot of professional teams that I've been around. Yeah.
Damn, that's great, because you played at like the Cape Town and Wellington, and like you played at some pretty cool facilities, man. And I was like, bro, I was peaking when I was watching you play in the NCAA championship. You guys were playing against Clemson. I know it's a pretty rough subject. I don't want to put salt in the wounds here, bro, but you guys did very well, and it was just cool to see it on ESPN. My dad actually came into the house in New Plymouth when I was watching on ESPN, and he's just like, who's this? What is this, a pro team? I'm like, nah, this is my boy Ronan. Yeah. He's out there.
Yeah.
He's out there doing it. I mean, how was it, bro, like playing on national television?
Well, in those games, like Clemson at 21, Maryland, we played away. Duke, we played last year in the second round. It's so sick. It's like you kind of grow up knowing about like Duke basketball and stuff like that. But like I visited the basketball arena there.
Yeah.
It's amazing to just be on the campuses and playing against those big names. And we outshot them, doubled their shots in that game against Duke, but didn't end up winning. But it's amazing just to play in those environments and those atmospheres with all those people and stuff. It's good
That's
stuff.
pretty cool. And what's the support like? I mean, I know you've got Brad Franks and Jamie Franks, brothers, head coach and assistant coach there that support you. They seem like, I see their stuff on social media. I've never been in a locker room with them, but from the stuff that I see, they give you guys a lot of support. What else do you guys get access to in the support side?
Yeah. There's a lot of resources people probably know on every front. So we have 3 coaches, we have physios, we have athletic trainers, we have nutritionists that come in, we have strength and conditioning coaches, mental health, we have psychologists, like everything that you would need.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is it on the psychologist front? Because do some of the guys get a bit nervous going and talking about their feelings, or is your team quite expressive, like they really utilize that?
It's pretty personal, I guess. Depends on the person, but our team has had talks with psychologists. We do before the season starts. Usually we have a handful of sessions, and then if you want to meet alone with them, I think it's free for athletes, completely free to see psychologists whenever you want.
Damn.
So
that's crazy, man. That's like more than what some of the pro teams get.
Yeah,
which is nuts. Because you've been obviously to a couple of MLS facilities, right? Like you said, your brother played for the Colorado Rapids. How was their facility compared to yours?
I haven't seen much of the actual facilities at the Rapids, but what we have is really good. I can say that, and I know compared to a lot of leagues around the world, it is on par with.
That's
those.
cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
And how's your studies going, brother? Because I remember participating in a school assignment. You're doing some photography.
Yeah.
You're doing some photography thing. It was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
No, I'm doing good. I'm like 90%, 95% done my degree, so I just have maybe 6 or 7 classes to go, but
nice.
Doing pretty well.
Yeah. What's your major? Can you share what your major is and what you want to do after college?
Yeah, so I'm double majoring in journalism initially, and then I'm about to get my second major in psychology, and then I'm minoring in communications. So I hope I can work in some sort of media company, something like that. I'm not like 100%.
We might have to drop a word to Chris Vidal, the CEO of ASM Scholarships, mate. Couple of openings there potentially in the future.
Yeah. All right. Sign me up.
We'll put in a good word. That's for sure. All right, brother. Now the fun stuff. I would like to know, and I know a lot of people would like to know, the best moment as a student athlete for you. What is that? What is your highlight so far on this epic college journey that you've been
on? Probably winning conference tournaments and winning NCAA games. It's kind of like a peak of all the work that you've put in. And then at the end, when you get to lift the trophy or beat a team that you shouldn't beat at their place, in front of their fans, those are the moments that you really, you kind of take those in, and that's everything that you've kind of worked towards is coming to fruition, I guess.
Bro, when you win a massive title or you win an epic game, whether it's home or away, and you come back, do people come up to you that you don't even know? And it's like, good game, man. Like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, random people, always say thank you. I don't really know everyone, but yeah.
Really?
We have a pretty good fan base. The state of Colorado's kind of trending up in terms of soccer, so it's getting
buzzy, bro. Because like Some people feel like they're like local celebrities on campus. The first time that someone came up to you was like, great game on the weekend, man, you didn't even know them. Was that like, feel like, wow, this is pretty cool?
Yeah, at times I feel like it does feel like that. But I feel like I'm just doing what I love to do, and if people like to watch me play, then I'm happy to keep doing it, and happy for people to come watch the games.
You're Mr. Humble, brother. I love it. I'm trying to get some more out of you, mate. But let's go now for the second part of my loaded question. What was the most stressful moment for you in college? Surely there has to be one, because I can remember all of my mental breakdowns at Victoria University in Wellington, man. So what is one moment where you're like absolutely stressed out? Could be assignment, could be running late.
Can I say my injury or no?
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah, 100%.
My injury, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to play for a while.
How was it, bro? Like, cause you were like flying. Like I know.
I just come back from the 23s.
Yeah.
6 weeks later, running fitness, and then Achilles goes.
Snap.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like a stressful moment. It's more just sadness, anger. Combined.
I can imagine that, bro. Because you were vice captain the under-23 New Zealand side, right?
Yeah, one of them. Wasn't really vice captain, but I guess I was.
You captain the side, bro. You can say that.
Close enough.
You wore the band. Yeah, I mean, how do you deal with that? You play for New Zealand, and things are on the fly for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally on the phone to your coach, Brad Franks, about it, and he's like, yeah, man, like he's doing absolutely epic. And then I get a message from him a week later saying, have you heard the news? And I said, no.
Yeah.
And then he told me about your Achilles going.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, what did you do to get yourself through that moment and to keep going with your recovery and to stay positive?
At the time, it was pretty bad. There's not much you can really do about it, so I felt kind of helpless. But as the weeks went on and I got off my scooter and my boot, I was in a scooter for 6 weeks. It just keeps getting better. The amount of like activity I could do went up. I was able to lift, start running. It gets better. That's the only thing. You have to know that it will get better.
Did you deal with specialists in Denver, or did you come back home?
No, I actually had surgery 5 days after it happened.
No way.
5 days? 6 days after it happened, which is like, now that I look, it's kind of like, that is unbelievable, yeah.
Very quick.
With a doctor that's done a lot of surgeries.
In Denver?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was pretty fortunate that, I mean, America is the best place you can be if you're injured.
Yeah, I've had a couple of athletes have done like the ACLs. I think ACL is probably the most common ones for soccer players. And they said that the turnaround time of them getting their surgery done, recovery done, is just incredible. Mm-hmm. What was the strength and conditioning and the physios like for you throughout this process?
They've worked together. So my strength and conditioning coach and my trainers have been constantly communicating, so it's not like kind of just disjointed where things can kind of go off track. So I've been doing lifting and recovery that kind of coordinate with each other so that I can be back and progress as quickly as possible.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
How long until you're back to 100%?
I should be able to be in contact training. I'm hoping end of February or sometime in March. That's the goal, and I think hopefully that's going to happen. So
awesome, man. Now that's amazing.
Yeah.
In terms of like your long-term plan, we know what you want to do academically. What do you see yourself continuing to live in the US, or are you sort of looking in Europe, or you're just going wherever the wind takes you in terms of your pro career?
Yeah. My goal, first of all, just get healthy, and then have a good season in August when the season comes around, and then hopefully from there I can gain some traction, gain some interest from some teams, and I do want to stay in the US. Right now, that's what I want to do. So stay and try and play. That's what I want to do.
Easy. Do you have like quite a few mates of yours in the Denver team that have got pro contracts in the MLS or top USL teams in the States? When
I first got here, there were a few players that went pro, And then I don't think we've had anyone drafted in the last 2 years, but I think after this season, we have quite a few good players. We had
That's awesome.
Guy on the All-America second team recently, and then there were 2 other players on the team that are top players as well that have been injured. So hopefully there's a few of us that can get looks, or I think many players in our team have potential to make that jump.
Bro, what are your thoughts on Messi joining Intercity Miami?
Brilliant.
What are your thoughts on it?
Brilliant.
You want to take him on?
Oh, yes, I'd probably
Mark him?
Yeah, no, probably not, but that is, so good for American soccer.
Man, that's massive, eh?
Yeah.
Because where's your brother playing now?
He was at Charleston Battery in the USL in South Carolina.
Yeah. Is he still there?
He I think he's going to find a new team.
Okay.
But he was playing there last season.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was just going to say, like, has any of your mates ever lined up against Messi yet?
No.
Not
I don't
anyone
think
that
so.
you know?
No.
Bro, that'd be so cool, eh?
Yes.
Imagine you, like, kidding up and walking on the field, taking on Messi. That would
Messi.
be unreal, right?
Yeah.
And do you reckon that just more and more pros now are going to join the MLS? It's just grown significantly, hasn't it?
Yeah. I've heard from my brother talks about it sometimes. So he played in the MLS obviously, and it is getting much better. There are a lot of international players that are coming in, marquee players for clubs. So it's growing fast.
That's crazy, man. Do you reckon that the MLS is going to be more favoured now than going to Europe?
I don't know. I guess it just depends on the person. Not right. I mean, Europe is the top place to be, but I think it's gonna overtake some of the lower leagues in those, not like England and France and stuff like that, but definitely gonna compete with some of those leagues in the future.
When you went to University of Denver, when you're thinking about going to University of Denver, I know that Declan, your brother, had played for the All Whites. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you had ambitions of representing New Zealand as well, like any other athlete would. Did you ever think that if you went to college in America, you would be out of sight, out of mind? Like you wouldn't be in contention for any New Zealand sides? Did that ever cross your mind? Because it does happen sometimes with a few of our kids.
I think it's easy to think that way, certainly, because you're quite far away. And especially when I went, there weren't many players that had gone to college and then represented the national team. But now I think it is becoming more popular. So I mean, if you play well and if you're playing in a good program against these good teams, not only the national team are going to be looking at you, but there's like 50 professional teams in the US. So there's a lot of eyes. Yeah,
man. I see there's a lot of quality people. You even look at like the Ferns, like the FIFA team that played recently in the World Cup. We had like Ava Collins, St. John's involved in that squad. Mm-hmm. I think there's a stat that in the entire World Cup team, the guys in America that were partnered with was telling me, Ryan Arvin, he said that there was like 700 athletes that competed in the Women's World Cup, and 200 of them were from college. Yeah. That's nuts.
I mean, women's college soccer is huge. Yeah. They get lots of fans, especially because the U.S. women's national team is one of the best.
Yeah, man.
So, it's pretty good to see.
Yeah, it's great to see, man. And I think, like, it's easy for people to think like that. Like, if I go to America, no one's going to see me. But, I mean, mate, I've got your printout right here in my hand, and all of your stats are on this, and this is one of like 4 pages, and that's how I knew how many minutes you played. Like coaches in New Zealand see that. I guess like if I was a national body coach, I would be a bit nervous with players going overseas because you don't want to leave your systems, but at the same time I just think it's inevitable because there's so much money in America. There's all these resources that are getting poured into college soccer, which is attracting a lot of athletes. And the education system there is good. And like I said, it's not for everyone, but there's definitely a lot of upside. So if you are listening to this, don't write yourself off going to the US just because you think you're not going to play for New Zealand. I mean, remember our soccer recruiter, Dylan Wood from Wellington, that used to work with us? Mm-hmm. So he felt like that. He genuinely felt like that. He told me before he went to college. And he did 2 years at D2. And then when he was at D2, he got an invite by Neil Emblem to come trial for the under 20s. Yeah. So he flew back and did it. Yeah. So you're not out of sight at all. But I mean, what is some advice you could give the younger Ronan Wynne, the guys that are like 15, 14 years old that are thinking about college? I mean, you've obviously got they've announced that there's another A-League team coming to New Zealand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of professional opportunity here.
Uh-huh.
What advice, though, could you give young student athletes when they're thinking about the college system in America?
Well, first of all, it's pretty cliche, but keep working. Your work won't go unnoticed. And then another one I think people may not, those young kids may not think about is doing well in school. Not only for your grades, but your habits. So I had to learn a lot of habits in college. My habits, I don't think they were that good in school. I had good grades and stuff, but I've built those habits. And if you start at a younger age, create good habits for school, it's going to transfer into different parts of your life. So start as soon as you can, and you'll be successful.
That's really good, man. You heard it here first, straight from the horse's mouth, not from mine. Ronan is spitting some liquid gold there, because there's a lot of athletes that just focus on one component of the student athlete. They just get in the gym, worry about their craft, but sometimes their grades fall behind, which it doesn't just affect their academics, but it affects other areas of life as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important to learn those things.
Yeah,
how important was scheduling when you got to America for you?
Scheduling as in...
like getting your day-to-day sorted.
Oh, yeah. We're pretty... my team is pretty organized. Like, my coaches like us to be organized.
They run a very polished system, eh?
Yeah.
The Frank brothers.
Yeah, so we have, like, these time blocks. So we have the morning, and then just before class, and then after class. So I guess just knowing what you're doing and maximizing the time you have in each to prepare yourself for the next time block or the next day is going to help you be successful.
Last question, brother. Won't keep you here too long. What does a day look like for you in college? Let's go in season. In season. Business season for college soccer. What does a day look like from when you wake up to go to sleep?
Okay, so I wake up around 6:15 or so, get to the locker room 6:45, 6:50. I eat. We have food in the locker room, so just have cereal, toast, whatever it is. Shower, preparation, so stretching and rolling out and all that. Train, and then sometimes we lift. 3 days a week we lift, or 2 days a week in season. That will finish around 11, and then from 11 to 12 is kind of free, so you go eat. And then class from 12 to 4 or 2 to 6, come home, homework, relax, go to bed, do it again.
Love it.
Yeah.
Never get sick of that day?
No. I'm doing what I love in the morning, so.
That sounds so cool, bro. Just walk into a locker room and have like all your food there laid out. Yeah. That sounds pretty nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your dad sent me, I don't know if you know this, but your dad actually sent me quite a few videos when he was visiting you guys over there.
Yeah.
And I was like, why didn't Ronan send this to me earlier? Because it looks so epic. Like the ice hockey rink, when you walk in, you just see it all the way down.
Sick.
Crazy,
Sick.
bro. Yeah, it's nuts. But man, thank you so much for jumping on here. Really appreciate it. I think it's going to help inspire a lot of young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, guys, college ain't for everyone, but if you do want to go to States, as Ronan said, make sure you're nailing both components of student athlete, not just one of them. And if you put your head down and work really hard, you'll create a situation that Ronan had where you had a lot of coaches fighting over him. And trust me, they were, mate. They were. When are you heading back to America?
4th of Jan.
Oh, very, very close to when Keegan Kelly's going to be going over. You got
I'm going to see him. I'm going to see him there, eh?
Yeah, man. Another striker from the platform team heading to the US. He's a good rooster. Have you caught up with him yet?
I was supposed to see him at the tournament.
Oh, yeah. I caught up with him and his dad popped in as well. They said they were going to message your dad and yourself, but mate, they're great people. His dad actually just works around the corner from here. Oh, really? Yeah, Dave. Yeah, I'm actually having coffee with him tomorrow at 10. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Go check out the University of Men's Soccer at Denver. Go on their Instagram, go on their Facebook, go on their website, and see what schedule they got coming up. It's pretty epic. And if you want to see Ronan playing, just type Ronan Wynne Denver on YouTube and just go see his games. It's honestly incredible, the facilities you guys play in, and best of luck, man. I mean, we are absolutely proud of you, dude, and we're absolutely rooted for you. We hope you go really well over there, and hopefully get you back on the field.
Yes. Soon.
Yeah, very soon, brother. Anyway, until next time, that's the Platform Podcast. Thanks for listening. Easy. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Legend.